Infantilization is the act of treating an adult as if they're a child, very different from enjoying childlike hobbies and wonder. So let's make this really clear before this video starts. I think infantilization is really lame. Childlike wonder is really cool. Now, let's see how infantilization affects the trans community at large. Please bear with me in this video, I'm very sick, but I'm doing my best. The show must go on, as they say. Let's start simple. Why do trans people gravitate to media that's deemed rather childish, or just hobbies or activities, that kind of thing? Well, the simple reason is, we didn't get to exactly do our childhood the way we hoped, right? Most trans people transition when they're adults. Me included, by the way. When a lot of us were growing up, we were told to play with different toys than we might have wanted to, or watch different shows, or play different games, or enjoy different hobbies, right? A lot of trans people like to reclaim their childhood, so to speak. And by that, I mean doing things they never got to do, never got to experience, that sort of thing, right? It's pretty common. It can feel like cis people grow up quicker than us, and well, I had a bit of a head start. We didn't get to be our gender from the starting line, right? It doesn't mean you can't catch up though. That said, you don't really need an excuse to be allowed to enjoy media or hobbies or activities that are more popular with people younger than you. You don't really, even cis people, you can do that, that's fine. There's reasons we might gravitate to behaviors or media or hobbies that are seen as a bit more childlike. Simply put, there's more of a hopeful, happy optimism aspect to a lot of it. So I can understand that with the world the way it is, to say the least. I find that there's nothing wrong with just having some fun, having a happy time, right? There's also the autism spectrum, which can influence what people fixate on or what people enjoy or feel comfortable with. Sometimes the routine is nice. Sometimes people just like certain things, right? That's true whether you have or don't have autism, right? And lastly, of course, you can just like things because you like them. That's really it sometimes. It's just important to note that enjoying these things doesn't make you have less of a capacity to be an adult. And infantilization is trying to use these things against you in a sense, to try to say you can't be a regular adult. It's about balance at the end of the day. Your ability to be a capable adult is not compromised by whether you hug plushies when you go to bed. It doesn't really matter. Basically, every kid movie I've ever watched has encouraged you to never lose the inner child, so to speak. Never lose that curiosity, never lose that creative spark, right? Otherwise, you become a boring adult. You want to be a cool adult. That was the lesson that has been ingrained in a lot of media that you likely consumed growing up, right? So understand that the people that wrote that were adults that retained that childlike curiosity, but you know, in order to write that movie that you watched, they had to have been a capable adult to then write that movie. You know what I mean? It's not a thing or a barrier that will prevent you from doing great things. Maybe the pathway will be different, but you can still do it. People that try to use childlike wonder as a reason to put you down are the lame adults in those movies, right? There are people that politely are a little boring. And I think you shouldn't feel like you're lesser than them just because you have that spark of imagination that they don't. It's kind of whatever, right? Your ability to make your own food, do things to help society at large, your ability to be kind and understanding and to share with others. That's not compromised by whether you watch Sesame Street. Doesn't really matter. It's best not to internalize conformity as the way to be an adult. If you lose that creative spark and sense of imagination, then that leads to a rather rigid future without much creativity. And creativity is important. I think there's a lot of reasons that cishet people try to infantilize trans people. For one, if you portray trans people as lesser or like not as capable as adults, it's pretty easy to spread harmful rhetoric about us. So I think it's worth understanding that some of that infantilization comes from a place of hate, right? However, there's also a type of infantilization that I think the trans community does upon itself. And I think that's a pretty interesting thing to consider. Have you ever seen trans people talk on Reddit? You'll notice the popularization of a lot of admittingly pretty infantilizing language and GIFs and that kind of thing, right? In a vacuum, not a bad thing. Just remember that like enjoying portraying yourself in that way doesn't mean you can't, you know, head on out there and do the things you want to do, that kind of thing, right? There's a balance to it. Enjoy a fun little cat girl gif. That's fine. I don't see an issue with that. But on the other hand, I think an elephant in the room that I want to address is infantilization to trans men. This one is a bit more of a rabbit hole. Have you ever noticed that when you talk about trans masc people, the term trans boy is used a lot more than trans man? That's infantilization, I'm afraid. Now, people can self-identify however they want. You'll see plenty of people say they're a trans girl or a trans woman, and it's kind of up to you what you use. It doesn't really matter. But I have noticed that as a way of stigmatizing or othering trans men as men, an easy way to do that, it seems, is to infantilize and to portray them as soft, sweet, ooh-woo boys. And there are soft, sweet, ooh-woo boys out there, and they're wonderful. But just remember, that's not every trans masc person. Similar to how not every trans femme is a ooh-woo anime girl TM, some like to portray themselves as more like hardcore, career-orientated, or other various forms of stereotypes, right? But I think of online trans community being heavily trans femme leaning, depending on what website you're on. You gotta be careful to try not to apply this too much to trans men, because then we get some issues. A reason infantilization is applied to trans men is also because of misogyny, I'm afraid. And yeah, trans men can experience misogyny, and it's a very complicated form of misogyny, but it's still misogyny regardless. As an example for the trans women watching, it's kind of like how the expectations of masculinity don't really go away. You still feel the pressure of it sometimes, the need to appeal to it, right? It gets extra complicated when someone's trans masc on the autism spectrum and affected by the patriarchy. That's a lot of intersectional discrimination, ain't it? So just remember, if there's trans men in your local trans community, be sure to not do this. Another interesting thing is that the act of not conforming to what adults are meant to do feels pretty trivial compared to the non-conformity of changing your gender, right? For us, watching a show that's technically not aimed at us, or enjoying a hobby not aimed for us, jumping on the playground and going down the slide, why would we care at this point? We're already unconforming members of society. Just understand how that relates to how it's used against us. Like, to us, a little bit of unconformity is so whatever. Like, it's probably the least of your worries, right? But for people trying to be mean or hateful to the trans community, it's pretty easy for them to do so if they just target little things that they don't like and nitpick, right? My main tip on how to have that balance of enjoying that childlike wonder and curiosity and also being a responsible adult is simply just to do what you want to do and be kind to other people, and look after yourself as best you can. It's okay if maybe you don't feel as capable at doing adult stuff. That's fine, because like anything, you gotta practice and try over and over, right? If the first time you've ever tried to wash the dishes went absolutely abysmally and everyone laughed, just bear in mind that you might not have had as much chances to try washing the dishes, right? It's a gradual process. You just gotta keep trying. You get better and better. I'm not perfect at this, and that's fine. But just remember to be kind to yourself and not feel the need to, like, explain yourself, so to speak. If you just enjoy playing on a playground or watching a show that's intended for babies or hug a plushie when you go to bed, it's like, whatever. Do what you want. You don't have to justify it, so to speak. You don't have to explain the deep, dark lore of Sesame Street to be allowed to hang out with Elmo. It's fine. Elmo's fun. You're allowed to like Elmo. Despite me being really sick, I hope this video was helpful. My voice is kind of about to give out, so we're gonna close it here. I hope the video was good, despite circumstances. The show must go on, as they say. But if you want to see more videos where my voice isn't dying, feel free to hit subscribe, like, leave a funny comment. Here's the secret word. Feel free to plop that in the comment to show that you made it this far and listen to my sick voice for so long. But anyway, as always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.